Jerome's an apology because the time zone changed. Margaret's busy at work, and we haven't heard from Evan and Peter Lustig. But anyway, I wanted to show you what I wanted to discuss, and discuss anything you guys want to discuss. So first up, where's my agenda gone? Let me share my screen first. Share screen. Desktop. Oh, there we go. That one there. Right. Share. Okay, good. So I'm sharing my screen with you now, aren't I? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, good. Just quickly, Margaret, no. Ian, yes. Peter, no. Jerome, no. Evan, no. Olivia, yes. Beatrice, yes. Just from the top, Ian, anything in particular you would like to discuss today?
Oh, no, Peter, not really. We're still extremely concerned about travel arrangement or travelling.
Yep.
You know, everything we're hearing is that by July, August, there's not going to be a lot of difference in isolation rules and so on. But I mean, things change day by day. So yeah. But really, we're just sort of keeping our options open, I guess, at this stage.
Yes, as are we. Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
What about you, Liv? Anything in particular you'd like to discuss?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the call, sweetie. And Beatrice, anything in particular you'd like to discuss in this call?
Not today. Is Mitch meant to be on this call, by the way? I just wanted to ask.
I did send him a link for it. Yep. I did invite him. Anyway, look, it mightn't be a big call, and that's okay. Now, I just first of all explain to Ian really why I'm in this funny position. And I said this to Margaret, who rang me a second ago. I've done my back, so my back's gone out. I'm very painful.
How did you do that?
Well, building.
Fell off a horse?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Off a horse. I wouldn't fall off a horse. No, it doesn't. No, I was unloading a truck about 3 weeks ago, and I strained a muscle, and then I ignored it for a week, and I just kept on going about my business, and then my back went alarm bell. Now it's really gone alarm bells.
Right.
So I'm sleeping on the floor, on the concrete floor there, and lying on the floor. But I've just got up for this call, and I'm bending over.
You don't ignore back problems. You've got to fix them.
Yeah, so I'm seeing some specialists. Anyway, some other things. I just thought in this call, just a bit of a fun call. I just cover on a couple of topics, which would be good for you guys to go away and prepare yourself for and what we'll be doing on the trip. So I just gear list, snowshoeing, navigation, map reading, celestial, and compass bearings. Obviously,
sorry, there's a really loud sound going on. Maybe we should just mute. There's like a swishing sound.
Oh, is there? Okay, well, just mute yourself if you're not speaking. Yeah. Oh, you've done that? Yeah, good. And as soon as you want to speak, just unmute yourself. Anyway, the gear list, snowshoeing, navigation, map reading, celestial, and compass bearing. Just some points I put here for today. And we mightn't go for the full hour, that's fine. Gear list. Was there any questions around this gear list, which I'll just bring up the screen, from last week? Any questions on that?
Not for me.
No? Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, good. Righto, then I wanted to go on to navigation, not so much snowshoeing, that's essentially a product of fitness and marching it on. But navigation, I thought I'd just touch on that today. I've just brought up for you a more detailed map of Spitzenberg, and we'll be flying in here to Longyearbyen in here. And where we'll be traveling to will be, various little anchorages up into here, in these fjords, out, in and around. It all depends on the weather. Now, it depends on a few things right now, including coronavirus. But I just thought I'd just bring this to your attention about map reading. All maps, you might know, face north. Now, do you know what north they face? There's a few different norths. Do you know what north maps face?
True north?
True north. That's true. Now, what does a compass read?
Not true north.
That's right. We've got Peter Lustig on the call right now, so he can definitely answer this question. G'day, Peter.
Hey, Peter. Sorry I'm a bit late.
That's all right. As a fellow yachty, you'll be all over this. I just thought in this call we'd just cover anything that's on your mind. And then in addition to that, I just put up here the gear list, really snowshoeing, navigation, map reading, celestial and compass bearings. So first up, Peter, is there anything in particular you'd like to discuss today?
No, except to say that I saw some media reports during the week that essentially said that there won't be too many international flights till probably late this year.
Yeah, that could well be the case. And I will update everybody as soon as I hear back from Ocean-Wide Expeditions saying they've made a statement to that effect, then I'll let everyone know. And you're probably right. You know? But anyway, we will continue to hold the space for an incredible adventure. So,
okay.
Sorry?
Are you hearing me okay? Because I can. Your sound is not terrific, and I've got mine turned right up.
Oh no, I can hear you perfectly. I'm not sure.
There's a swishing sound, like I don't know if you're moving a mouse or something. There's a really loud swishing sound.
Okay, what about now? If I just don't touch the couch.
No, it's still there in the background, Peter.
I've got the swishing sound, but I can hear everybody fine. It's not worrying me too much.
Okay.
I won't move. Okay, well, look, if you just can't hear me, let me know. And Peter, just to explain why I'm on a couch like this, I've done my back, so I'm in a very awkward back position. Well, I've got a sore back.
That's no good.
No, it'll come to a day.
I hope you get better soon.
So, Peter Lustig,
yeah.
Quick question. Which way do all maps, what is the top of all maps?
North, of course, always.
Which north?
True north.
True north. Now, which way does your compass point?
To magnetic north.
Well, it is a form of magnetic north, but it's not necessarily magnetic north, and that is exactly what this call is about. I'll just show you something on my screen.
Sure.
So if I show you this screen here playing now, you'll see that there's a compass. You see that?
No.
What can
we see the map. We still see the map at the moment.
Oh, it hasn't updated. Huh. Let me just, why is that? Sorry, why isn't my screen sharing? Stop sharing. Okay, share screen, desktop, share.
Yeah, I've got a compass.
Okay, good. If you want, what's all that about? Okay, if I show you this, can you see that, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll all take a compass with us. If you buy a compass in Australia for your trip, make sure it's swung to the north. Those compasses are either swung south or north. Now, what's going on with this compass right now?
It's being affected by
being affected by the magnet, right? Now, what is your mobile phone?
A magnet?
It'd be the effect of a magnet. So I just thought I'd bring it to your attention because Peter Lustig is correct. Of course, compasses do point to a magnetic north, but it might not be magnetic north. And this is what's got a lot of navigators over the centuries in trouble. So there's 2 points I wanted to talk to today that take into account for all navigation. And I've drawn them out for you on the agenda here. So if I go back down to here, you'll see on this map here But there's a picture of a Spitzberg. And let's say you wanted to go from here to there, you'd lay your compass down, you'd take a bearing. But you wouldn't know, and it would give you a true angle to go to. And I've got a picture here on how you do that. There, and I'll send these notes to you. So how do you take a compass bearing? Well, you hold the map in front of you with a compass on it. You make sure you're standing behind the compass. You align the long edge of the compass between your current location and the point you want to go. And you turn the bezel, which is a bit around the outside, and you align it with the north. Actually, it says magnetic north, but you actually align it with the north on your map. But here's what goes on between. See, I've written here TVMDC. Well, when I was taught this back in 1996, before I did the Melbourne to Burnie yacht race with a sextant, I was taught this saying:
I'll just mute for a second.
True virgins make delightful companions. True virgins make delightful companions, which is probably true. In this occasion, I'm sharing it with you because T stands for true, V stands for variation, M stands for magnetic, D stands for deviation, and C stands for compass. So actually, when you get your compass and you go to use it, it doesn't point true north at all. It points compass north. And between compass north and magnetic north, you need to take into account deviation. And deviation was shown to you just in that video just then of a magnet. But it could be anything. So Peter, you might recall from sailing, if you want to swing the compasses on a yacht, you have to get a specialist to come in there and they swing your compass according to where your speakers are placed or where the laptop is or any of the navigation equipment or the backstay, because it localizes the magnetic effect upon your boat. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you need to take that into account. Now, once you've taken that into account, then you have a magnetic reading. And then from a magnetic reading, you need to take into account another variation which is known. See, deviation isn't known. You can't predict it unless you have a specialist come and do it. But sometimes in life, you have a mobile phone in your pocket or a Leatherman, you didn't know about it. So you've got to be aware of that. But variation, you can look that up. In fact, I looked it up already. And if you look up Longyearbyen in Svalbard, it tells you right now that at a latitude of 78 degrees, 13 minutes north, longitude 15 degrees, 59 minutes east, that the inclination, the magnetic declination, they call it declination or variation, it's the same thing, is 10 degrees east. So you can take that into account and then you can alter your magnetic reading accordingly. Okay, everyone, is that making sense to people?
Yep.
So if we say one day, okay, everybody, we're going to put our snowshoes on and we're going to go for a charge over from here to there, and on the compass it says, the bearing is, let's say, 90 degrees. True. Well, you've got to take into account that in that local area, you've got a thing called magnetic declination or variation, which is 10 degrees east. And another saying for you to remember is east least, west best. So if you have an east variation, it underreads, and a west variation overreads. So if you have an east variation, it's underreading. So you'd have to add 10 degrees to what your compass is reading. Okay? Does that make sense?
Just a point here, Peter.
Yep.
It's pretty obvious if you know it, but I see there's 25 minutes there too, and there's 60 minutes in a degree, so it's effectively 10.5 degrees east.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The extra 25 minutes there. Exactly right. And it doesn't show you on this particular chart or what I got off the internet, but if you look at a British Admiralty chart, generally, it'll say something like 10 degrees, 25 minutes east, and it'll say rate of change, and it'll say 2 minutes per annum. And then you'll know, and when was the last datum done? It'll say, I've done in done in 2000, say. That could be 18 years ago. And you go, I've got to multiply that by 2. So that's how they do it. And they put a little point there saying how much it's changing by each year. Okay? Any questions on that?
It'd be much more fun doing that on the ice.
I know, sweetie, but I'm just doing the best I can, getting you guys ready. So I'm just prompting your mind to go away and research these things. And I've done a little picture for you showing a compass. You see, there's true, and that's what magnetic may be reading. And just off magnetic is this other gap here called deviation. Now, from a personal development perspective, I just want to draw your attention that it has an effect. If you look over here, it's something else I did, with work with people, is if you look at people living their life, and you say, well, I'm going to follow my compass. It's a bit of a metaphor for life. If you don't take into account the unknown deviations and the known variations, could be the culture of your workplace or how your back is or whatever it may be, then what you actually may be pursuing over here in your future might end up quite different to where you end up, because the thing you're reading is not pointing where you want to go. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I'll send this to everybody, just you can fill it in. But
Peter, there's another thing that chart shows beautifully.
Yes.
And that is that, if your focus is, say, 1 degree out, at the start it almost makes no difference whatsoever. But by the time you get across the other side of an ocean, or you've lived another decade or more, the deviation can be enormous.
Enormous, exactly. So a person, Olivia's age, the course that you go and do at university right now, it mightn't be the right course. Maybe it's not, who knows? But what we do know is that if you pursue something at an early age that's not right for you, where you'll end up later on can be a long way off from where you want to be. That's the metaphor. Yeah?
Very true.
Very true. And it sounds to me, my darling, that you're on exactly the right course for where you want to be. I get that. So there you go.
Most definitely.
What's that, sweetie?
Most definitely.
So what that brings to mind as a question is, what is really possible for you if you clear your past of all these unknown variations and unknown deviations in your life, and you take account for them? What's possible? That's a question for you to contemplate, okay? So that's one thing I wanted to cover today. Then I wanted to bring to your attention a really cool app. Has anybody got this or know about Skyview for your?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really recommend getting that. You get the light version, which is free, and it'll show you all the stars, where we'll be going, and what constellation is. Because
does it apply to the Southern Hemisphere as well?
Yep. Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. It's really cool.
Good. Thank you.
In fact, even here in Melbourne, say, you can look through the Earth to the other side of the world, and you can see what the constellation is happening or occurring over there.
Oh.
So right now, you could point it at Svalbard and see what the constellation is that you'll see. Okay?
Right.
Good.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, one of the stars you'll see, and a very well-known star, is Polaris. Does anybody know what Polaris is or what it's famous for?
No.
Polaris is famous for the fact that it never moves away from the North Pole. It lives within a degree, 89. So it lives within a degree of the northern celestial pole. Now, what can you do with that knowledge if you're a sailor in the Northern Hemisphere?
Use it for navigation.
Use it for navigation, because you always know, all you got to do is find Polaris, and that's your northern celestial pole. And the northern geographic pole is directly at right angles to your celestial pole. From the sky, you look down and bang, that's it. Now, what's the closest we've got in Australia for that?
Southern Cross.
Southern Cross, yeah.
Now, how do you
it's 4.5 times the long axis
Exactly.
going from the head to the tail.
That's right. So Peter's just said it. That's exactly right. With the Southern Cross, you go 4 times from the tail, from the head to the tail. 4.5.
4.5.
4.5 times you flip that over, and that takes you to the southern celestial pole. No matter what angle it's at, you know, it's doing this through the sky. Its tail is always pointing at the south celestial pole. And with that knowledge, you can find south. But you can see that's a long way away compared to Polaris. So why it was very much easier for the northern hemisphere to explore the world is they had Polaris. They could leave London and head off into the ocean and the Atlantic, and off they go. And they can have, back then before sextants, they can have a staff stick, you know, and they just slide the shaft bar up and down the shaft until the bottom was tangential with the horizon, the ocean, and the top was tangential with Polaris. And they have a mark there and say, oh, that's London, boom, turn right. Or you know, that's Portugal, turn right. Lisbon, you know. That's how they did it. But we didn't have that in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's Polaris. It's a very famous star. And we'll be seeing it from up north. And we'll also have a sextant with us. And this, as I just said, this is how you use a sextant. Has anybody used a sextant before?
No.
Yeah, Peter has. Okay, well, a sextant has 2 mirrors in it. You can see here, in this one here, if I put my cursor there, you see it has 2 mirrors. There's a mirror there, and there's a mirror there. So when your eye looks, there's your eye here. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, your eye looks through here, right? And one reflection goes bing, 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 and it looks through the reflection, and the other one looks straight ahead, because that's like a half mirror. And what you do with that is you move this handle here to whatever degree is required. What you do is you move until you see in this view here the object you're looking for, and it could be Venus, generally it's the sun, or a moon sighting, or Polaris. And you look up your timetable. What's the word looking for, Peter? You look up
Side reduction tables.
You look up your almanac. That's right. You look up your almanac, and it'll have you right there and then for that exact second where that star should be, and you call time, and with the chronometer, which is nowadays just a watch. You can imagine how back in the olden days, before 1770, how you could have bought the world for a watch, because it was so valuable in positioning yourself. Because if you know your time relative to where you were, and you know where the star is, then you can locate your position. You can get what's called a dead reckoning of your position. So that's the principles of how you use it. I encourage you to go away and read more about it. And we will have a sextant with us on the trip, and we'll all have fun taking readings and learning how to navigate with a sextant. So, any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's related to this, but I know I've asked you this before, but I wouldn't mind if you refresh my memory. What is the difference between the North Pole and the magnetic pole? Like, what's the difference between the pole and a magnetic pole?
Yeah, good. The geographic pole, or the true North Pole, is otherwise known as the geographic pole. That's the axis on which the Earth rotates, which is 22.5 degrees, off straight. So that's that's the axis of the world that it's rotating on. And the magnetic pole is the axis on which the Earth's magnetic field rotates on. In fact, if I go back to this video that I had before, you'll see that's it there. And it's showing you, if you go back a bit, it's moving. In fact, they say that in 100 years, the North Pole will be the South Pole, and the South Pole will be the North Pole. You see that? They're moving, and they're moving at about 10 miles per year, the magnetic field. And what it is, it's all the metal that's inside the lava in the Earth's core. It's moving, it's molten. So as it moves, the actual center where the magnetic field is, it moves also. Make sense? Now, what are the northern lights?
It's ionized particles in the air.
Exactly. Peter's just said it. It's ionized particles that are in the stratosphere trying to enter the atmosphere, and you know what they're attracted towards? The magnetic North Pole. That's what's drawing them. They're not going to the North Pole, they're going to the magnetic North Pole. And that's why the closer you get to the magnetic North Pole, the more concentrated you see the northern Auroralis, or of course, in the opposite case, the southern Auroralis. And that's what you'll be seeing. And they're giving off a charge, because as they go from one sphere to the next sphere, they give off this incredible iridescent charge, and that's what you see in the northern lights.
Hmm.
So there you go. Any questions?
Not for me, thank you.
Well, that's all I wanted to cover today. And obviously I'll update people if I hear anything more from the boat. Then I'll update you. I will send you these notes as an attachment to the WhatsApp group. Oh, no, I'll send them. Yeah, I'll send them as a WhatsApp group. And secondly, I'll update you when I know more, if anything changes from the boat's perspective. And I encourage you to go and research more on this, because we will be doing this on the boat. Okay?
Right. If you have any reading suggestions, I was just thinking, most of us are in isolation. When you were talking about the watch before, it reminded me of that book, Longitude. Is that right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I love this book.
Yeah, maybe just some reading. Got any suggestions about some good reading? Maybe you can pop that onto the WhatsApp group. That would be great.
Yeah, I will. This is, I have to look at the book. Sorry. Yeah, the True Story of a Lone Genius. This is the best book of all time. Dava Zobel, what an epic story of a man fighting for his rights for a king's ransom he was offered, and he never got it. His son got it. The next generation had to fight for it to get it, because he did solve the mystery of how to measure time on a vessel going south of Gibraltar and back to London. And anyway, because it was all hierarchy and old school boys in Greenwich, they wouldn't give him the prize because he was just a commoner. But he was a carpenter, and just with wood, he made a device which could measure time at sea without losing a mile in its reading from the duration from London down to the Rock of Gibraltar and back. Yeah, in fact, not London, of course. It was the Scilly Islands where they left from. Yeah, so good question. I recommend that book. It's a great book, and I'll put notes into that to the group.
Okay. Oh, Peter.
Yeah, I sort of decided to go north a bit early.
I love it. How do you do that? I want to do that.
Oh, well, if you go to the bottom of your screen, bottom left, you'll see the stop video sign.
Yeah.
Just to its right, there's an up arrow. So click on the up arrow.
Yeah.
And then you'll see at the bottom of the list, it says choose virtual background. And when you go there, there are some standard ones there, but you can also add, you can also choose a virtual background by, see the plus sign on the right there?
I'm on my phone. I just wonder whether it's...
Oh, no, you won't do it on your phone. But if you go to stop video, click on the little arrow to the right, choose virtual background. You can choose any one of these or add in your own photo. So for example, I chose a stock one, but Here's another photo that I've got.
No, I like
Yeah.
it.
This is Port Phillip Bay.
I see that Ian went into the outer world then.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to mine. Yeah.
There you are. You're back again. You're gone headless though.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I've lost my. Yeah, I'm gone.
Yeah, the virtual background's a bit funny, you know, if you move like this, for example. You know, they're not perfect, but there you go.
Yeah.
Very good.
When I'm talking to my kids, I put photos of the kids in the background.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I've used it before.
Yeah. Okay,
There you
gang.
go.
Well, I might sign up. That's all right.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
good.
Okay, Peter.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
And,
Peter.
No worries.
All right. Well,
Nice
see you all
seeing
next time.
Nice seeing you, Olivia.
See you in
I'm
3
looking
weeks'
forward to
time.
meeting you again.
Next call's in 3
Bye
weeks.
all.
Bye,
Okay.
Ian. Bye.
Bye.